All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the sales process that you can use to sell more high ticket med spa treatment plans and packages. So this applies to you if you run a med spa or aesthetic practice. This video has been long overdue. I talk a lot on this channel about how to run Facebook or Instagram ads or just marketing in general for med spas. But one of the most important parts of the whole process is your sales process. And if you have a bad sales process, it doesn't matter how much marketing you do, it is never going to work. So the problem here, this is for you if you struggle to sell high ticket treatment plans at your med spa. I've worked with dozens of clients at this point, and I've seen firsthand the difference between a bad or non-existent sales process and a very strong one. And without a doubt, the med spas who make the most money and enjoy their work the most are the ones who have a strong sales process. So in this video, I'm going to go over the key characteristics of a strong sales process, and I'll also give you a clear sales process that you can implement immediately to increase your high ticket treatment sales or your high ticket treatment plan and package sales as well. So let's just start by first defining terms, because I'm going to use a handful of different terms throughout this video, and I think it's important that we're both on the same page with the definitions. So first off, a high ticket sale I would determine as something that is typically a package or a treatment plan costing $1,000 or more. Right. And you can have a different definition. That's just my definition that I'm going to be using for this. That is usually the price point that we want to be at in order for your Facebook, Instagram ads to work. Your sales process is your in-person process of guiding potential clients from initial interest to committing to a treatment while simultaneously building trust, addressing concerns, and ultimately closing the sale. So this is your in-person process where you take somebody who initially put their hand up and said, hey, I'm interested in this discounted offer, this upfront promotion, and then guiding them to a package sale or a treatment plan sale of some sort. So let's first talk about what sales isn't. Before we get into what sales is, I think it's important to touch on this. So a lot of med spa owners I speak with have a very negative connotation with sales. They tell me, oh, we don't want to be pushy. It's against our brand. And the idea that sales is always slimy or high pressure or sleazy stems from our typical associations with sales. We think of used car salesmen, we think of Wolf of Wall Street, or maybe you even think of your own experience where you felt like you were being pressured to make a decision that you didn't actually want to make, and they were pressuring you into making that decision, right? You might have something that you think of when you hear the word sales or salesman or saleswoman or salesperson, right? The truth here is that sales is what you make of it. So there are absolutely people who use sales tricks and human psychology in an unethical way for their own gain, right? But sales is a tool. It is up to you to use it wisely in your med spa or aesthetic practice. Bad sales feels very slimy. You feel like you're pressuring someone into making a decision that they don't actually want to make just so that you can cash out and make some money, right? Good sales doesn't feel like sales at all. It feels like a casual conversation. You're guiding someone who has a problem to a solution that you genuinely believe in. And that's the big difference here, is that you are not taking advantage of people. You are simply taking people who have a problem and helping them come to a conclusion or come to a decision. The result of good sales are two people who walk away from the conversation that feel like their lives just got better, right? You walk away from the conversation feeling good because A, you just got a sale and cash flow is the lifeblood of your business, but B, you also feel good because you know that you're genuinely going to help this person, and they walk away feeling good because they genuinely feel, okay, I just made a good decision for myself and I'm going to solve this problem that's been really bugging me for years now, or whatever it might be. So if you don't fully stand behind what you're selling, then you should just shut your business down. This is so important to understand with sales. But if you're ever in a situation where you don't fully genuinely believe in the effectiveness of whatever you are selling, and you try to sell that to somebody anyways, then that is where this becomes very unethical and immoral, and you should not do that. Secondly, here, if you aren't willing to turn people away who wouldn't derive value from your treatments, then you should also shut your business down. So for example, if you're ever in a consultation or you're ever in a situation where you're talking to a customer or a client and you just have this feeling like we're not going to be able to get this person results, or this treatment isn't the right treatment for this person, and you still try to sell that person that treatment anyways, then again, that's very unethical or immoral, and you shouldn't do that. You should be willing to turn people down when you genuinely believe that you cannot get that person results. Okay. Now, why can't you ignore sales? Well, a slightly paraphrased quote from a guy named Alex Hormozi, who is, much smarter than I am in terms of sales and marketing. He said that out of everyone who walks through your door, 10% were never going to buy, no matter what. So there's nothing that you can do about that. But 10% of people that walk through your door, they're just not going to buy. And you could be the best salesperson in the world. You could have the best offer, the best packages. You could be the number one med spa in town. There will always be that 10% that are just shopping around for information they don't buy. 10% we're going to buy no matter what. So as long as you don't screw up royally and you actually just, don't do anything stupid, then you are going to get those sales regardless. The remaining 80% is completely undecided. They don't know whether they're going to make a decision or not. Most businesses, not exclusively med spas, this applies to all businesses across the world, only ever get the 10% who are going to buy no matter what. And they allow the 80% to walk out after their appointment as a lost opportunity. And so learning how to recoup that 80% is the key to more clients, more profit, a bigger paycheck for yourself, opening up that second location you've always wanted to open, hiring that team member to take off a whole bunch of the grunt work off of your plate, or getting that new device, whatever your goal might be. Learning how to recoup that 80% is the key to achieving those goals. And a strong sales process is the way that you do it. So if you ignore sales, just be prepared to watch your business stagnate and die. That's the truth. Okay. If I've gotten in conversations with individuals before where they say, oh, it's against our brand and we don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be sleazy. We don't want to be salesy. First off, you don't have to be any of those things. And second off, if you continue to just push sales away, sales and marketing as these things, you continue to push them away as something that you're going to ignore, it is going to be very, very difficult to grow or scale your business. And you're probably either going to stagnate or slowly die. Now, also, on top of that, sales magically fixes your marketing. So when you have a solid sales process in place, all of a sudden your marketing becomes a lot more effective too. Those Facebook ads that only gave you low quality leads, all of a sudden you're closing 20% of those people into treatment plans, even though these were the individuals that you were like, oh no, they're broke, they only want the upfront thing. The dollars that you're spending on your marketing start to feel much more impactful rather than that feeling of just like flushing thousands of dollars down the toilet every single month on yet another marketing company, yet another lead generation company, or just pushing more and more money into Facebook or Instagram ads or TikTok ads. When you have a good sales process, all of a sudden, you know, you can put $1 in and get $5, $10, $15 back. And you can feel confident that regardless of the low quality leads that you're getting, you are still going to make progress and grow your business. Hey, real quick. So if you want 10 to 20 qualified aesthetic consultations on your calendar that actually show up every single month with zero work on your end, and if we don't get you that result, then you don't pay, then click the link down below to my website, watch the video on that page to learn more. All right, now back to the video. So the most common sales challenges that you face, you likely already have some sort of in-person sales process that's happening. Maybe somebody comes in, they check in with your front desk person or your receptionist. They ask some, they sit down for a consultation. You ask them some questions. You ultimately present them a treatment plan or a package, and then you administer the treatment that they came in for. But the issue is that when you present the treatment plan or the price, you get all these sorts of objections, right? So you get a price objection. Someone says that's too expensive. Competition objections. So 123 Med Spa down the street does it cheaper. Spouse objection. So I have to talk to my husband, wife, partner, friend, goldfish. Treatment objections. I don't know if this specific treatment is going to work for me specifically. Time objections. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. I'm not in a huge rush to do this right now. And most med spas are ill-equipped to handle these objections and typically just watch clients walk out the door without any further commitment. So someone says, oh, I need to think about it. And you go, okay, cool, think about it. And then you never talk to that person again. Having a solid sales process not only helps you handle these objections and recover that sale that it would otherwise walk out the door, but also prevent these objections from happening in the first place. So the stronger your sales process, the less you get these objections, which is exciting too, right? So the most common objection I hear when I am presenting this idea that we need to take sales seriously is, oh, but we don't want to pressure them. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable or whatever, right? Handling objections isn't about applying pressure to force people to make a decision. That's not what it's about. When done correctly, it's about ensuring that clients are fully informed and confident in the decision that they're making. And by the way, the decision that they're making can be a yes or a no. It's just important that you help someone become confident in that yes or become confident in that no. By addressing their concerns, you're building trust, educating them on the value of the treatment, and ultimately helping them achieve the best possible outcome, which is in their best interest. So it is in their best interest and your best interest to handle objections and learn how to have a good sales process. It is much easier for people to stay the same than to make a change, and that's why we procrastinate on decisions so much. Proper objection handling is taking someone by the hand and helping them make the decision, the best decision for themselves, because most people are unable to make that decision on their own. So the challenges that we need to solve, like I mentioned earlier, sales is just your in-person process, or your sales process is your in-person process of guiding potential clients from initial interest to committing to a treatment while simultaneously building trust, addressing their concerns, and closing the sale. So it is our job to engineer an in-person process that maximizes trust in both you and your treatments. So I believe that you are the provider that can do this for me. And I also believe that the treatment I'm here for is the one that's going to be able to help me achieve that result. addresses their concerns. So if they have questions, including their objections. So if they bring up objections, you learn how to handle those objections, and also gets commitment from them. So people aren't just walking out the door kind of wishy-washy, like, oh, I'm not sure, we'll see. Get a yes or a no at the end of this. And trust me, their life will improve and your life will improve. If you want to rely on the 10% of people who are going to buy no matter what for the rest of your life, then good luck. That's all I got to say. So step number one, this is how to build a good sales process in person so that you can sell more high ticket treatment plans and packages at your med spa. So step number one is your selling environment. So from the moment that someone walks in, you want to instill confidence in people that you, A, know what you're talking about. So you're not just some, random person that spun up a med spa or spun up a business. You know what you're talking about and you are the authority on these topics. And B, you're in demand. So there are other people that came in, got your treatments, got great results, and there's a line of people out the door waiting to get those results from you as well. You can accomplish these two things with a handful of different ideas here. This isn't an all-inclusive list, but just a handful of ideas. First off, we're talking about your selling environment, which just means the literal physical environment. And so what you can do is you can frame before and after transformation pictures and just put them all over your lobby, all over the consultation room, wherever you have that conversation with people. You can put awards and certifications up on the wall. You can have a sign-in sheet that people need to fill out that's just filled to the brim with names. So when people come in to sign in, they see this huge list of names and they go, oh, wow, like a lot of people have already been here today. You can have a countdown for your current specials or promotions. So imagine if you had like a chalkboard on the wall and it said like, here's our May promotion. There's only 2 spots left. And we started with 30 spots or something like that. Now, all of a sudden people are like, holy crap, 28 other people took them up on this offer. Like there's a lot of people coming to this med spa. Professional furniture and decor. I am no interior designer and I cannot give you any recommendations on this, but it should just feel professional when people walk in terms of the furniture and the decorations. And then also staff credentials, right? So simply put staff credentials up on the wall and the decorations and all of that kind of stuff. This is the type of thing where you can implement all these things once and add to it over time, of course, and reap the benefits forever. Like if you just cover your walls with before and after transformation pictures, you only have to do that one time and there might be a little bit of an upfront cost, but every single person that walks through the door time and time again after that point will have more confidence in you and have more confidence that there are other people that actually want what you are selling, right? So this is really important. The actual physical environment is the first step. If your med spa just feels sketchy or you don't have any of these things, then it is going to be very difficult to sell anything to anyone. Step 2 is your intake form. So after somebody walks in for their appointment, an intake form is just, you've had intake forms at like the doctor's office or the dentist or whatever. It's just a piece of paper that helps you and the client. It helps you because you get a better understanding of why they made their appointment in the first place because they're going to fill out some questions on there. And they also get reminded of why they're there in the first place. So it helps you because you get a better understanding and it helps them because they have to sit in the pain that they're coming in for. The basic points that you want to hit on your intake form are what specific issues are you trying to solve with XYZ treatment that you're coming in for today? What products, treatments, over-the-counter creams, et cetera, have you tried in the past? What is your ideal outcome that you'd like to achieve from this treatment? Or what situation would you like to avoid after getting this treatment? And then is there a specific reason that you're interested in getting this treatment now, right? So not just like, oh, we saw your offer or we saw your promotion, but like, is there an event coming up? Or do you have a specific reason that got you motivated to come in to get this today and not 6 months from now? These are the basic points that you want to hit on your intake form. Obviously, you don't have to ask them just like this. You can set it up so it's just like a checkbox that you check off. So like what specific issues are you trying to solve with your treatment? And then you have a whole bunch of common issues that people face, and then people can just check off their items. Make this easy for them to fill out. You don't have to have them write paragraphs, but this form will serve as the basis for your consultation. So step 3 is the consultation. So the consultation is going to be the bulk of your sales process. It is the most important part. This is the most important part of everything. So make sure that the person that is doing the consultation is equipped with the things that I'll talk about here. So like I mentioned before, the intake form kind of serves as the basis of your conversation during the consultation. So all those questions that you just had people answer, we're going to just dig deeper into those things that we just asked them. So if I just go back, like, for example, what specific issues are you trying to solve? We want to dig deeper into that. What is your ideal outcome? We want to understand that a little bit deeper. And so that's really just the basis of the conversation. So I'll try to keep the consultation as simple as possible. I usually break it down into 5 different categories. So rapport building is first. So having a conversation, identifying the problems they're facing and the implications of those problems, identifying their visual goals if possible, soft pitching to them your treatment or your treatment plan, and then closing on the sale. So let's talk about each one of those. So step 3A here is rapport building. So this requires just being a normal human being and having a conversation. I'm not going to go super deep into this, but you don't want to start off and just have people sit down and immediately go, so what brought you in today, right? Because it's just a little bit like clinical. You want to just show that you're a real genuine human being. This doesn't have to be 15 minutes of back and forth conversation, just simple icebreakers like, oh, what part of town are you from? How's your day been so far? And keep in mind that this is not an interrogation, and participate in the conversation. So, oh, what part of town are you from? Oh, really? I'm actually from around the corner there. I've been there for 6 years. How long have you been, in the area, or how long have you been in that part of town, right? Just have a conversation, right? Be a normal human being. Not going to go any deeper on that. The next step here is to identify the problems and implications. So this is all part of the consultation. This is where you can use the intake form as a crutch. And so I would recommend, after the rapport building, after you've had a conversation, have some kind of system in place where you can take notes while someone is talking to you and while someone is giving you answers to the questions that you're about to ask them. This just shows that you're listening, and it shows that you're being attentive. So like I said, take notes while they're talking to you, make eye contact with them, and listen to understand. Don't just listen and have things go in one ear and out the other. Listen to understand and actually genuinely understand this human being, this person who is sitting in front of you, right? A great starting question to ask is, so what brought you in today, right? Or so based on your intake form, it looks like you're dealing with XYZ problems. Is that right? Basically what we're doing here is we're just trying to open up the conversation and focus on the problems that they are facing. The key here is not just to gather a whole bunch of surface level problems. Like, for example, if you say, oh, what brought you in today? And someone says, oh, I have a wrinkle on my forehead, or, oh, I have acne scars and I want to get rid of them. We don't just want to gather a whole bunch of people's problems that they're facing. Instead, we must dig into the implications of those problems. So in other words, an implication is just how bad is this problem really? So we want to take the problem that they give us and go, okay, why is that a problem for you? Or why is this serious, right? So some examples of implication questions. If someone says, oh, I have acne scars and I want to get rid of my acne scars, you go, okay, gotcha. When did you first start to notice X? Or, when did you first start to notice your acne scars? Or how long have you been dealing with acne? What have you tried before to solve this problem? Like, have you tried over-the-counter creams? Have you gotten medication? Have you tried other treatments? How effective were those things for you? Now, the obvious answer to this is, oh, it wasn't very effective because they're sitting in front of you today. They clearly didn't get their problem solved. But we still ask this question so that they can go, yeah, I guess I did try a lot of things so far and none of it has been all that effective. Ultimately what we were trying to do is we were trying to just take the pain that they have and put it out in the open and really deeply understand it, so that not only so that you can understand it, but also so that they can sit in that pain and understand it as well. You could also ask them, what would it mean if we were to leave this issue untouched for another 3 to 6 months? So for example, if someone said, if we said, how long have you been dealing with this issue? And they said, oh, I started to really notice it like 6 months ago. Then you could be like, okay, gotcha. Well, what would it mean for you if we were to leave this issue untouched for another 6 months? And now when you ask this question, people might be like, what? Well, what do you mean by that? You just go, yeah, no, what I mean is, how do you think your confidence or your daily life would be affected if we leave this problem alone for another 3 to 6 months, right? This is a really important question to ask, because basically we're just trying to get to the point of you haven't taken action until this point, and now you're starting to take action to get this treatment to solve that problem that you came in for. So what would happen if we just left this alone for longer, right? Like, oh, maybe your skin would continue to deteriorate, or maybe your confidence levels would be low. We just want to dive in and understand the implication of not solving this problem. Then we would ask, what makes this issue a priority for you right now? This is really important too, because you're going to get people that come in all the time and they're like, oh, this can wait. I'm going to, maybe I'll touch base in 3 months from now and I'll come back and we'll do it then. You want to just get this out of the way early and say, what makes this an issue? What makes this issue a priority for you right now? Why are you trying to solve this today? And they might say, oh, well, I have a wedding coming up, or, this has just really been bothering me for the last 2-3 years. And I just decided now's the time I need to do something about this, right? So once we understand what the problem is that they're in for. So we ask them, what brought you in today? I saw on your intake form you're dealing with XYZ problems, right? Then we just want to ask them implication questions to understand how serious that problem is for them. You can literally copy and paste these questions. As you're asking the questions, nod, understand, and take notes. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to transition into the pitch. So once we have them understanding their problem and sitting in the pain of their problem, then we could go, if we had a way of fixing this issue so that you could get to your goal without all this pain, is that something you'd want to explore? So as an example for you, if we had a way of reducing your acne scars by 60 to 80% without having to go through surgery or downtime, is that something you'd want to explore? Now, basically what you're doing is you're trying to get them to say, yes, that is something I'd want to explore, so that you now have permission to make your quote unquote pitch. Now, this is an optional step here, but if you can identify their visual goals, this is a good idea. So this isn't always applicable, but it's massively powerful. It really depends on the treatment, but if you can visually display different levels of your treatment, then you could ask them before you make the pitch to, or before you make the transition sentence here, which is, if we had a way of fixing this issue, is that something you want to explore? Before you say that, you could say, which of these images do you feel best represents you now? And which of these would you like to get to? So just to show you an example here, let's say someone came in for like a lip filler or something like that. You could say, okay, which of these images do you feel like is the best representation of your current situation? And somebody might go like, oh, I feel like I'm like a 0 or a 1 or kind of like halfway in between. Then you could go, okay, got it. Well, if we could help you get to one of these desired levels, which one would it be? And they might say, well, I really like the look of 3. 3 looks really good. Then basically what you're doing is you're having them anchor themselves to where they're currently at, and then you're asking them based on these pictures here, where would you like to go? And this is incredibly effective, because once you get them to say that, you can then say, okay, gotcha, well, if we had a way of getting you to level 3 without pain or discomfort or downtime or whatever, is that something you'd want to explore? Right now they can visually see what the potential could look like for them. This is really helpful. This isn't applicable to every treatment, but I thought I would just throw that out there as well. Now, step 4 is the soft pitch. Now, if we understand their problem, we've dug into the problem, and we have them kind of visually see where they would like to get, we are now equipped to soft pitch our solution. Emphasis on soft here. This isn't some hardcore high pressure sales pitch. It's just a brief explanation of the path that you believe will help them achieve the goal that they have communicated to you. So this section, the soft pitch, breaks down into 5 subcategories: the summary, the transition, proof, 3 pillars pitch, and tie down. And by the way, I know this is a lot of information. If you want this document, the first link in the description, you can submit your email. I will send this document to you, and you can just use this as your guideline. So what we do here is we just quickly summarize. So we start by giving a brief summary of the notes that you took or everything that you've heard so far. So you say, okay, I think I have all the information I need. Is it okay if I just quickly summarize what I've heard so far? They'll say, yeah, of course. And you go, okay, got it. So it sounds like you've been dealing with your acne scars for 2 to 3 years. You've been getting acne since you were a teenager. It's just one of those problems that hasn't gone away for you. It sounds like if we wait to solve this problem, it might take a further hit on your confidence. And it sounds like the place that you want to get to is 60 to 80% reduction of your acne scarring. Is that pretty much accurate, or did I miss anything at all? And then they'll say, nope, that all sounds pretty good. Or if they have any additional comments, then they'll tell you, but 9 times out of 10, they're just going to be like, yep, you nailed it, right? That's exactly it. So once we get them to agree to the summary, then we go, okay, great. So based on all of that, I'm confident that we can help you out. Would you like to hear how we go about doing that? They'll of course say yes. And then from here, I typically like to inject proof. So you can go, great. So we have this 3-step process that we take our clients through to achieve goals. So to get rid of their acne scarring. This is the same process we used for these clients, and then just show them a whole bunch of before and after pictures. If possible, describe your before and after pictures as a story and relate it back to them. So you could literally have printouts of your before and after pictures and be like, here's one of our clients. They started off kind of in a similar situation to you, like they were struggling with similar things. And then after working with us, or after coming in for a handful of treatments, we were able to get them to this, and then show them the after picture. And then just show them like 2, 3, 4 of those. And then after you've showed them all of those, and you can describe them as a story, you go, before I explain the process to you, what do you think of these? And they'll go, oh wow, that looks really great. Like I definitely want to start to transition towards looking more like this, or more like this after picture here. They'll say, yep, that looks great. Now what we do is we will briefly explain the treatment plan or packages by breaking it up into 3 steps or phases. Don't ask me why, but apparently in sales, like people understand things better if it's in 3s. And so someone else said that. It's not my idea. Just take it. So basically you would go, awesome. So we break it down into 3 different steps. This part is very difficult for me to tell you what to say, because it really varies depending on the treatment, the package. You'll definitely know what to say much better than I will, because you are the expert on this. But we need to keep in mind that this is like our pitch, right? So we're basically saying, here is what we believe we've understood their situation, and then we are now explaining the treatment plan or the package to them. Keep in mind that the more complex you make your 3 pillars or your 3-step process, the less they will understand it. And so this part of your sales process should take you less than 2 minutes. So if you were to time yourself delivering this part of your sales process, it should literally take 2 minutes of your time to speak it out loud. one thing that you don't want to get yourself into is you don't want to start over explaining and here's exactly how the treatment works and here's the science behind it and here's all these amazing case studies. People just tune it out. They don't hear anything. They just want to know, how is this going to work for me? And so a general guideline for the 3 pillars is, the pillar 1 would be like the first thing that you do before you actually start treating them. So we're going to start with a full assessment. We're going to start with some kind of 3D scan, in-body scan, et cetera, et cetera. The second pillar is the treatment plan itself that you are going to recommend to them, and also what makes you different as a med spa or aesthetic practice. Really important, because the likelihood that they've talked to somebody else is pretty high. And then the third pillar here is how you'll help them keep their results after they come in, because one of the biggest concerns that I hear time and time again from people that come in for treatments at med spas or aesthetic practices is, yep, I got results, but they were temporary and they went away. And so you need to clearly define how you are going to be different and actually help them sustain their results in the long run. My recommendation is to keep each of your pillars to 1 to 3 sentences max. Focus on why that thing is beneficial for them and do not over-explain. The more you try to over-explain, the less people will understand, the less people will buy. So as a bad example, like if you said something like, oh, our Thermalift treatment uses radio frequency energy, which stimulates the production of collagen. Like, whoop, that just went in one ear, out the other. Nobody cares. A better example would be, okay, our Thermalift treatment stimulates the production of collagen so that you can achieve firmer, smoother, and more youthful looking skin without the need for invasive procedures. Do you see how I mentioned very briefly, here's the thing that we're doing, and then I used a bridge called the So That You Can bridge, which is basically saying, here's why this is really important to you, okay? So what I did was I came up with an example pillar, 3 pillars for Emsculpt Neo. You can use this as a guideline or use this to write your own. I would really just recommend like sitting down and thinking this through and writing it yourself. But I wanted to just give you an example so that you had something. So let's say that I came in and I ran a consultation, I asked the questions, I understood someone's problems as it relates to Emsculpt Neo. Then it's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pitch them a package of 4 treatments over 4 weeks for Emsculpt Neo. What I would do is they say, oh, we said, oh, would you be interested in learning how we could potentially solve that problem for you? They would say yes. Then we would get in, we would show them some before and after pictures. And then this is where we would insert our 3 pillars. So I would go, first, we make sure you're fully prepared to achieve the best results possible. We provide you with diet, workout, and lifestyle recommendations so that you can maximize your body's response to the treatment with results that last. Second, based on your comprehensive assessment, we've designed a treatment plan of 4 Emsculpt Neo sessions over 4 weeks. Emsculpt Neo helps build 30% muscle and reduce 25% fat so that you can achieve a more toned, sculpted physique without the need for invasive procedures. 4 treatments over 4 weeks will give your body enough time to adapt so that you can experience optimal muscle growth and fat reduction with each session. And now, ideally, if you could insert their specific goals, so if they said specifically they want to reduce their belly fat by 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever, like insert a specific number as it relates to them if you can. Finally, what really sets us apart is our commitment to long-term results. We'll give you a customized maintenance plan and access to our private Emsculpt Neo Facebook group so that you can retain your results for years instead of just getting temporary results over a couple months. So you see how that's very simple and that's very to the point. I'm not going into the details of exactly how Emsculpt Neo works and the different technology. I'm just saying, here are the 3 phases that we're going to take you through. Here's how it benefits you. After you've been talking for about 30 seconds, I would recommend to check in. So, sound good so far? How does that sound so far? Something like that. So like maybe after I deliver the first and the second pillar, before I go into the third one, I could say, how does that sound so far? Before I continue on, I just want to check in. Does that sound good so far? They'll say, yeah, it sounds good. You just want to make sure that they're not like zoning out. From there, you would just finish up. So after about 30 seconds of talking, check in. And you can also turn your 3 pillars into a presentation with visuals, which I would recommend doing. I wouldn't just blur out a whole bunch of I wouldn't go on a monologue and just read your pillars to people or try to memorize them. You can use like a PowerPoint presentation as a visual crutch for yourself. So you can use that for yourself, but it also helps them see. And like, as long as you're putting like before and after pictures in there and only relevant information, that can be very helpful for them as well. So after we've delivered our 3 pillars pitch, the next thing we want to do is called the tie down. So we want to ask 3 questions in succession here. The first one is, so with all that said, do you have any questions about the 3 steps I just went over specifically? So we're not asking, do you have any questions? Because usually when you say, yeah, do you have any questions? The immediate thing is, oh, how much does it cost? Or they start like really digging in. They're like, yeah, but like, how does Emsculpt Neo work in particular? You don't want any of that, right? So we're just going to ask them, do you have any questions about the 3 steps or the 3-step process we typically take you through specifically? And then if they have questions, answer their questions and then return back and say any more questions until there are no more questions. Now, most people are just gonna be like, no, that sounds really good. Like, this sounds great. Then you would go, perfect. So do you feel like this process is exactly what you need right now to get you to whatever your goal is? And they'll say, yeah, that sounds great. Like, this sounds like it's gonna help me finally achieve this goal. And then you go, and do you feel like we're the perfect fit to help you get there? Right? So you're asking all three of these questions, and ideally you're getting a yes to all of them. What are we doing here? So what we're doing by asking these questions is we are getting confirmation that they understand the process, right? So they understand what we are going to help them achieve and how we are going to do it. They believe that it will work for them, and they believe that you are the best fit to help them achieve that, right? Because if we can just get rid of all of those things and get them to verbally agree that, yes, I believe this is going to work, I believe that you guys are a good fit for me, that means that the only reason that they would say no beyond this point is the price. That is the only reason that people would say no, right? So if they show any hesitation during any of these questions, just circle back with them and say, are you sure? Like, what are your main concerns? Like, if you're like, perfect. So do you feel like this process is exactly what you need right now to get to your goal? And someone's like, yeah, I guess so. Like, I'm not really sure. Then I would just be like, I sense there's a little bit of hesitation. Like, are you 100% sure? Like, do you have any concerns that we could address here? Or what are your main concerns? Because if you sense that they're a little bit hesitant, the likelihood is that they probably are, and there's something that they're not telling you. So you want to ask them this question, address their concerns, and then circle back to these questions again. Then after all of that, they have no more questions. They're 100% confident that you are the provider for them and you can help them. Then you go, great. Is it okay if I just share some treatment options that I think are really perfect for you? They'll say, yes, of course. Now, this is the close. This is the part where we're going to actually try to transact. So what I recommend is create two different packages or treatment plans, one that will help them achieve their goal as fast as possible with less effort or sacrifice, and then one that will help them achieve their goal just a little bit slower with more effort or sacrifice. So just to give you an example, like you could create a premium package that's $3,000 to $5,000 that bundles multiple different types of treatments and higher levels of support. And then you could also create another package that's like $1,000 to $3,000 that only incorporates one treatment and standard support. You want to present the more expensive one first and stack the value of everything they're getting and then reveal the price. So you say, here's our first package. Here are all the amazing things you get in this first package. We're also including XYZ bonuses if you sign up today. Here's the price for that one. And then after that, you want to present the less expensive one second. Same exact thing. So here's our lower tier package. This one includes all these different things. We're also including these bonuses if you start with us today. Here's the price for that one. Both options should include incentives to move forward today. So for example, like if you get a set of free bonuses for getting started today. So like if you move forward today, or if you decide you want to move forward today, we're also including these 5 fast action bonuses, something like that. Now, after you've presented your two packages, you would then go, which one would you prefer? So you're asking them for their preference between one or the other. The big mistake that a lot of people do, this is called an A/B close. What we're doing is we're making it, we are better at making decisions by comparing options rather than just making decisions in a vacuum. And so if you just create like one treatment plan or one package and you're like, here's our one package and this is your choice, right? People are like, okay, well, I don't really have anything to compare this to other than other providers in my area who might be doing it for less. And so by giving them two options, you are now allowing people to compare. Like when you go to the grocery store, you are comparing the different choices regardless of what you're getting, right? And you make decisions by comparing, not by, just having one single option. So you would ask them, which one would you prefer? And they go, oh, I think I prefer the lower tier one, which is probably what you're going to get. That's the whole purpose, by the way, of creating a high premium package and a lower tier package. You want people to look at the higher tier package and be like, that's a little bit out of my budget. That's pretty expensive. And then in comparison, the cheaper one looks much more cheap. And I don't mean cheap as in it's like you're not going to get them results. I just mean it's much more affordable. So like if I had a $5,000 package and a $2,000 package, the $2,000 package looks much less expensive in comparison. So you ask them, which one would you prefer? And then as a bonus, you could finish up. Like if they said, I think I prefer option B, you could go, out of curiosity, what made you pick that option? And then they will justify their decision back to you, which reinforces their choice. They're going to go, that's a little bit more within my budget. I also, I see the value in getting the support in that way, whatever they say. If they're excited and ready to move forward and, they're like, yeah, I want to move forward with option B, then you can simply explain the next step. So awesome, let's do it. As for next steps, we'll walk you through our service agreement together and I can answer your questions. Once that's signed, is it all good? Is it all good if we use the credit card that we already have on file? Yes, great. We'll do that and we'll get your next visit scheduled. Sound good? So you're just laying out some next steps and then they'll say, yep, that sounds good. Now, Step 6 here is to handle objections. So you might get met with some resistance here. So for example, when you ask which one do you prefer, you might get an answer like, the first one, I guess, but I'm not really sure. Like, I think I have to think about it. Or when you ask if they're okay with the next steps, you might get something like, well, I'm not 100% sure yet. I still need to think about it. Or like, oh, I need to talk to my husband or wife. So if you get responses like this, it's helpful to circle back and say, absolutely, please take all the time you need to think about it, just to make sure you're still feeling confident that our process will help you achieve XYZ goal. They'll say yes. And you're still 100% confident that we're the right fit to help you get there. They'll say yes, right? And do you see why we ask those questions in the beginning now? Because when we start to get objections, we can circle back to them and say, okay, just making sure like you're still feeling good about this, right? And then you go, okay, awesome. Just wanted to make sure, just so that we can provide the most support possible. What would you say is your main concern? And so you're not just allowing people to say, oh, I'll think about it and then walk out the door. You are having them tell you right then and there what their main concern is. Someone saying they need to think about it is very surface level. To help someone make a decision, we need to understand what's truly stopping them. And so when you ask what their main concern is, you'll likely get one of two answers. Like, honestly, it's just the price. Like, it's a little bit out of my budget. That's the first thing. The second thing that you might get is, honestly, I think I need to just talk about this with my husband, my wife, my friends first, right? If it's a price objection, if someone says it's a little bit out of my budget, it's a little bit expensive, then you can just go, oh, gotcha. Makes total sense. If the price wasn't an issue, would you be more excited to move forward today? And they would say, yes, of course. Then you would go, great. Well, we might have some options that could help you out. And then from there, you have so many options that you could provide. So you could say, what if we did first half now, second half later? So you pay only half of it today, and then you pay the other half on your second visit or something. You can give them financing options. So, oh, we're actually partnered with Cherry. We can get your upfront price or your payment today as low as $500. Or you could have them pay at each visit. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to have you come in for 4 treatments. What if we just divided it up by 4 and we had you pay at each of those 4? If any of those options don't work, you can also downsell to something else, right? So if someone's like, I really just don't think I'm going to be able to afford this, you could be like, no problem, completely understand that. We do have like a starter package for individuals that are looking for a more affordable option. It's $497, and here's what it includes, right? And so basically what we were trying to do is, if someone says that price is the problem, we can solve that, right? That is a solvable problem. We can provide them different financing options, and we can also downsell, right? So you don't just want to watch people walk out the door if they say, oh, that's too expensive. If they say, oh, I need to talk to my spouse first, then you can go, oh yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. You should definitely talk with him, her, or them. When do you think you'll be able to have that conversation? They'll say, I think I'll be able to talk to them on Wednesday. We have some downtime. You go, Wednesday? Okay, perfect. Let's schedule your follow-up visit to claim your free bonus for Thursday. Does that same time work for you? And by the way, this free bonus, most of our offers that we're running, especially with Facebook ads, have some kind of free bonus that requires them to come back for a second visit anyways. So they still have to schedule that appointment. So you can go, okay, great. Let's schedule your follow-up visit to claim the free B12 injection that was a part of your offer for Thursday. Does the same time as today work for you on Thursday? They'll get yes, right? So you want to start all of these follow-up appointments, like if you have to schedule a follow-up appointment with someone, with a brief summary of what you talked about the last time, confirm everything still sounds accurate, and then ask them what questions they have, answer their questions, and then close the sale from there. Now, what is the result of all this? Well, now you no longer have to deal with wishy-washy answers. You help people make the decision that's best for them. And it is completely okay if that decision is, I don't want to do this, right? It is okay if people say, I hear everything that you're saying. I don't think that this is the right fit for me. Great. We're glad that we helped you make that decision. But it's important that we don't just let people walk out like not really knowing. And it's completely okay if that decision is, I don't want to do this. If they don't believe that your process will work for them, they don't believe that you can get them results, and they aren't willing or able to pay, then you should be happy if they decide not to do it. But for those who believe in your process, believe in you, and have the willingness and ability to pay in some fashion, you'll be glad that you helped them make that decision. So the final step here is to reinforce their decision. So as soon as someone buys, buyer's remorse kicks in. So this happens all the time, no matter what people buy, even if they were initially happy with their choice. So it is your job to quickly reinforce that they made the right decision. So you need to make them think, okay, I'm really glad I went with this med spa and not 123 med spa down the street. You can do this with clear next steps. So you want to communicate verbally during their appointment exactly what's going to happen next. And you also want to text and email them, here are the next steps for exactly what's going to happen. You can write them a handwritten thank you note that you send to their address, or you just hand to them on their way out. You can leave a voicemail that same day or the morning after from the founder or the owner themselves, just welcoming them in and congratulating them on making this big step. And you can also include an unexpected gift. So like at the very end, if they decide to move forward with a package or a treatment plan, you could be like, awesome. Oh, by the way, like we give every single one of our new treatment plan clients a free t-shirt. Like, what size are you? And then you could give them a free t-shirt. It's just an unexpected gift, an unexpected surprise that people really appreciate. Congratulations. If you truly take everything that I went over in this video and implement it into your process, I promise that you'll start selling more treatment plans and packages. You will no longer only sell to the 10% who are going to buy no matter what, and you'll start helping more people in the process, which is obviously a great feeling. So if all that sounds great, we guarantee 10 to 20 qualified, budget qualified, aesthetic consultations on your calendar that actually show up every single month. If you want to learn more about that offer, click onto my website, wellnessleads.co, in the description. If you want this document and you want this document for free, then go ahead and hit the first link in the description and you can get that for free. But I will see you in the next video.